Hi there, this is Ronan McManus. I'm the founder of Artists for NHS, raising money for the NHS frontline during the COVID-19 crisis, doing a series of videos with Switchbox TV. And today we are joined by Ed Westwick. How you doing, mate?
Hello, Ronan. I'm doing really well, thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. All good. Yeah, just obviously strange times we're living in. Just where are you? Who are you spending lockdown with? And how are you finding it?
Yeah, it is strange indeed. You know, I think I don't know, man. It's crazy. You know, having our whole life turned upside down a bit. You know, some people have got it a lot harder than some others. You know, I'm actually in London right now, which is obviously where I'm from. So I'm here. You know, my family, thank God, are all doing all right. You know, mum's on her own, so she's a little bit bored. But you know, we're all healthy and we're all okay. I've been in lockdown with my girlfriend, so we've been doing pretty well. Haven't been driving each other too nuts. It's actually been pretty good. I've been on the receiving end of some magnificent baking, so I'm very, very lucky and very, very blessed in that regard. But yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. So what's your lockdown skill going to be then? Have you been getting in on the baking as well, or what have you been doing? Learning a language or writing that script? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy? Because obviously I mean, I'm a musician myself, so obviously there's no gigs, there's no work going on. So, yeah. You know, is there anything you're doing to get yourself through this time?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like, I just moved into this place the day lockdown hit. So it was like a scramble to get some furniture, some bits and pieces together. I've still got a ton of stuff in storage in LA, so I haven't got like all of my things. I managed to snag one guitar, which was actually at my mum's house. This nice pink guitar, which kind of adds a little flush of colour to the place, to go along with a pink couch, can you believe? So you can see what I'm into. But no, so it was kind of scrambling and getting stuff together, as I said, just as lockdown hit. And then, you know what? Perfect time to organise a new place, because there was nothing else to do. There was nowhere else to go. So it's just doing a lot of organisation. That lasted for a little while. And then obviously you're kind of like, all right, can't go out for dinner, can't do any of these things we're all so used to and things that we take for granted. And you know what? I mean, I've spent a lot of time at home over the years as an unemployed actor at different times, you know, so you've got things you can do, whether or not that's reading books, lots of different books, and playing guitar a little bit, and then exercising, you know. I mean, I think that's been essential, very, very important, because otherwise, you know, I got injured actually for a couple of days, and I couldn't do it, almost a week, and it kind of sent me a bit loopy, because that's really like such an important release, you know. So I hope everyone's managing to do a bit to get some exercise and everything. But I mean, look, it's a weird time. I mean, my motivation dips at times, and I think one of the things that, you know, obviously, you know, I'm a relatively ambitious guy. You know, I want to be doing things and getting onto things, and sometimes when you're just feeling in a slump, and apparently that's what we've all been, you know, that it's been a common kind of thing for everyone. You know, you just got to give yourself a break, man. You know, so I've just trying to be a bit kinder to myself in that regard, I guess, and just trying to take the pressure off this situation, because nobody wants to feel like we're wasting time, you know. And right now, there are moments when it can feel like that.
That's kind of why I was saying the lockdown skill, because everyone's kind of sort of saying, well, I'm learning a language, I'm writing a book, I'm doing everything. And,
yeah,
you know, just taking some time for yourself and a bit of mindfulness is always good. I mean, it's good advice. But I am looking forward to the Pink Guitar album. I'll look forward to that now.
Yeah, definitely. My buddy was trying to get me to go on to you know, a similar thing like this and do a bit of playing live. And I was like, all right, just let me practice a little bit more. But
well, no, you know, Artists for NHS, we do have musical performances. That's kind of how it all started. So if you do feel like you've got a song in you, then we would be more than happy to have you.
We'll have to look at that. Yeah, that could be fun, definitely. So, you know, I've been able to do stuff for fun and then feel like I've had some kind of work things to do. You know, I've got some different projects that are stories of my own, stories that kind of I I came to finding and want to develop for TV and film. So working on those remotely with some partners in the States and stuff. So, you know, doing what we can. I think that's what you've got to try and do. And yeah, you know, I mean, fingers crossed. There's some changes soon, but we've got to do it when the time is right.
Absolutely. I mean, I was going to ask you about the how it's affected your work, because you just released Behind Enemy Lines, which just released at the end of April. Is that right? I mean, how's that differed from other movie things? Obviously, there's no premiere or things like that. How's it been? What's the strategy been like, and what's the feel been like around that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been different. So we were supposed to have a premiere in LA for Enemy Lines, and like April 24th, and obviously we couldn't do that. Everything got shut down. They decided to continue with the rollout and do it digitally, which it would have happened anyway, but we would have been in movie theaters, cinemas first. So then it all kind of, you know, we just went for the push, trying to let people know that the film was out digitally. I did a Q&A for the States and some other interviews. I've been doing interviews this week, yesterday and the day before, for the UK, because the film actually came out in the UK on May 4th, so earlier in the week. And just been doing what we can, you know. And then we've obviously got VE Day tomorrow, and honouring heroes and remembering those involved in World War II. And the film is a World War II action drama, so it's quite fitting for this period. And, you know, that's a film about a war, about a conflict with an enemy. And I feel like right now, you know, 2020, we're in a very different war, but we're in a war nonetheless. And it's nice to see, you know, we were just talking a second ago about the NHS clapping, which we've been seeing, and I've been doing it and everything like that. And it's just wonderful to see the collective spirit of people. And it's a tough time, but there's definitely some real great human spirit coming out. Captain Tom Moore, I've been watching him on the news, and I mean, that's just remarkable. I mean, I shed a couple of tears over that.
I think everyone did. I think with that one, but yeah, just tell us a little bit about the movie anyway, just because it's set in Poland in 1943. Is that right?
That's right.
Based on a true story.
Based on a true story. So Poland, 1943, an elite group of commandos led by my character, Major Kaminsky, who's American, and another few members who are British commandos, embark on a covert mission into Poland to extract a scientist who is a high target for all parties involved in the war, because he is working on a very, very top secret project. And you know, at first they don't know what they're, you know, really what the essence is of the guy, but they get into it. But yeah, so it's just a very intense, exhilarating action film going after this guy, you know. And
you're working with John Hannah. What was that like?
Brilliant, because he's been in stuff since I was a kid, you know. So he was such a cool guy, really cool guy, really nice guy, and obviously great actor. And it was just great, man. He's a legend. John Hannah's a legend. So
he really is. Yeah, he really is.
Really enjoyed it.
Fantastic. And so what did you do? Obviously it's 1943. Did you do anything sort of to get into that spirit of that era, because it's very different?
Yeah, very different. But you know, I feel like we feel a bit connected to that generation still. I mean, my grandfathers were both in World War II, doing different things. My mum's dad was, you know, a very skilled engineer, and therefore was required at home to make equipment, tanks, etc., like that. Whereas my father's father was in North Africa, in Italy, running a regiment. So, you know, we've got connections. You know, I mean, if maybe the next generation won't feel as much of a connection, but certainly my generation, our generation, we do. And so I you know, felt that, but also listened to the music. I mean, I'm a big fan of that kind of big band, Glenn Miller era, and some of the other music that came out of that time. Just listening to that kind of transported me. And then we were in Belarus, which Belarus was was playing Poland basically in this film. I'd never been to Belarus. Apparently, what I was told before was that they do World War II better than anyone if you're not going to spend 100 million and do it in the UK or the USA. And that was pretty accurate. They were fantastic when it came to the stunts, the coordination, all of the equipment, and really creating that atmosphere. We had this fantastic village built for us, which really kind of transported you. So Belarus was interesting, man. It was a good time.
It must have been quite a different sort of role from your time on Gossip Girl with Chuck Bass.
Yeah.
I mean, simply clothes-wise, you're obviously a little bit limited.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't leather gloves with cashmere inside this time. It was slightly different, you know. But
nice.
So yeah, very different from Chuck Bass. Was talking to someone about Gossip Girl the other day, and you know, I was just saying, the more time that passes, the more lucky I feel that I was part of such a cool thing that was, you know, I guess significant, and people are still talking about it. And then it's funnily with this lockdown, and obviously it's a great demand for content and stories and people watching things. It's almost been reborn, you know. It's been very popular once again, so it's very cool. It's very cool. We almost had two lives.
A couple of girls that have the Switchbox office are huge fans of Gossip Girl, and there's a lot of people very jealous with me right now talking to you. So I've got a couple of questions from the girls, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
One of them was asking, what's the best fashion advice you got from Gossip Girl?
Best fashion advice. Oh, probably wearing a waistcoat. You never do up the bottom button, excuse me, which I didn't know, which seems really subtle, but apparently that's the way you wear a waistcoat.
Ah, right, okay. I have to remember that one.
Yeah.
What's the best memento you took from the show?
The best memento. Do you know what? We weren't allowed to keep any of the clothing. That all they were very precious about that. Mind you, the wardrobe budgets on per episode were ridiculous. You can imagine. So I think they put everything in storage, and then they were like, right, how can we use? Who wants this? Where can we rent this out? Who's going to pay us? So you know, but we you know, I think do you know what? It sounds crazy. I don't think I got anything significant. Wasn't really. We weren't allowed to take anything. So now I really feel hard. I feel hard done by right now. I'm like, I'm actually getting emotional. Why didn't I have it? Yeah.
I feel like you're going to take a trip back there now and just start something else. You know, maybe a covert mission behind enemy lines.
Covert mission in the Silver Cup Studios, Queens, in 2020.
To steal a waistcoat.
Steal a waistcoat. One man on a mission. Steal the waistcoat. Exactly.
And apparently there's a reboot happening. This is there's a lot of rumours and interest in a Chuck Bass cameo. And if that happened, we're not going to ask you to reveal anything or to speculate on that. Just if that happened, where would you like to see the character go, and what would you like to see him do?
It's a really interesting question. I mean, at the end of the series, he, you know, was married and had a kid. So, you know, I don't want to create the whole disaster where some tragedies happen. But I mean, it's hard if he's not living in domestic bliss. Then that means the characters might have had to, you know, evaporate or something like that. So I don't know. You know, we had such great storylines for Chuck on Gossip Girl, and you know, he lost it all, got it all back, so on and so forth, and it would be hard to know what else there was to do. But he would be in a different place in his life. Maybe it would be like Marriage Story, and he'd be having a divorce and would be knees deep in that, you know. So it might be quite sad, but I don't know. We'd see.
It's hard to see him kind of being a sensible guy now, isn't it? Really,
it's hard to see that, you know.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. He exhibited some maturity at stages, but no, it was a hell of a ride. I had a good time doing it.
Yeah. And I've got a final question, just a 2-word question. Why Dan?
I know. Weird. I don't know.
I think it was a surprise.
I remember if you see there's some bloopers on that final bit. Penn could not deliver that line for about 20 minutes. Where he was saying that he was Gossip Girl. Where we were all, it was like that last day at school type thing. Before the summer holidays, everyone was just cracking up. So. Why Dan? Exactly. Who knows? But maybe in the reboot they'll tell us some more. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about a bit of football now, because I mean you're a big football fan. You're from Stevenage, is that right? Or you grew up in Stevenage?
Grew up in Stevenage, yeah.
I live in Watford, so we're both Hertfordshire lads here. So, but you're not a Stevenage Borough fan, are you? You're a Chelsea fan.
No. I'm a Chelsea fan, but I used to go to Borough a little bit. I remember the first Borough game I went to, I queued up outside with my dad for like 2 hours to get tickets to the Newcastle United FA Cup game, where Shearer was just come back from injury, and he scored straight away, and then Grazioli scored, who had been bought for a packet of crisps and a Mars bar, and he banged one in as well. I don't even think it was a banging in. I think it was like in off the bum, or something like that. But it doesn't matter. So, did Borough a couple of times, but no, went for the glory eventually. Clearly.
What's your favourite Chelsea memory then?
Favourite Chelsea memory. Let me see. It's a weird one, man. I almost want to say that it's not even. No, I've got some different ones. I think probably just Mourinho when he came and he did that whole thing and just like lit it up. It was just like an amazing feeling. And just some of those games, some of that team. That whole kind of moment in time for me. And then strangely Ronaldinho coming to Stamford Bridge and like just ripping Chelsea apart, because I was a massive Ronaldinho fan. I was just like, even though it's the other team, you're like, you're amazing.
So yeah, I think you got the best of Mourinho. It was definitely the best version of him, I think. Yeah,
what about him now? Like going and playing football with the Tottenham players in the park the other day, or something like that. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
This was a couple of weeks ago. He got into trouble. He got a couple of Tottenham boys together, and we were all doing like football training in the park. And it was like, mate, you can't do that right now. You can't do that right now.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
You can't do that right now. Don't do that. I don't know.
What's your lockdown soundtrack then?
Bob Marley always makes you feel good. Literally, every little thing's going to be all right, and for some reason, this morning I had the sound of music like theme tune going on these review of my favorite things. I listened to like a range of stuff, all different eras, more gentle stuff in the morning, and then amp it up a little bit during the daytime, and then the evening time is always kind of like Italian cooking music. So that we like Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Italian American, and maybe so a little kind of, if it's cold or it's raining, we put on a little kind of Latin feel or something like that to warm it up.
So trying to keep the positivity going, really. I suppose it's
trying, man. Try and fight off the darkness 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we're raising money at the moment with this through Artists for NHS for the. I mean, my wife's a nurse and I'm a musician. That's kind of how it all came about. So I sort of found myself out of work, and watching her go to the front line every day. So that's kind of how this all came about. We're obviously raising money for the frontline NHS workers. You lived in America for a long time. You've experienced a situation where there isn't a national health service. How was that kind of? What's been your experience of the two different places?
I've got a really, really good friend of mine who's a nurse in New York City, and she actually just recovered from a severe illness just before all of this. And I mean, testimony to the person she is, the woman she is. She's back at work, 14-hour shifts. Not getting the PPE that they need, and really, really going through it. But, you know, doing what she loves and doing something that, I mean, these are heroes. You know, I saw on the TV that the Banksy painting, which Banksy dropped off yesterday to Southampton Hospital, and the kid flying the new superhero. I mean, they've always been heroes, but, you know, it's more, you know, we're conscious of it even more so now. And she is, you know, my friend in New York, along with her colleagues, along with your wife, it's, you know, everyone involved in helping us and saving us. It definitely is, you know. I mean, she's, you know, I think it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's the same as it is here. You know, I mean, she's just working her butt off, and is tired, but is committed, you know, and thank God for her. Her name's Carrie. Carrie, hello, if this somehow gets to you. And that's it, you know. I mean, fingers crossed, they all deserve a big bonus and a big holiday.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank you for giving your time up for this. It's been really fantastic to chat to you. I'd just like to finish off with if you would just to say a message, you know, directly to the frontline staff. It doesn't have to be just the NHS ones, because it's worldwide, this, you know. So just feel free, whatever you'd like to say.
So, to all the frontline workers, I am not Banksy, so I can't paint you a very cute, amazing, soon-to-be expensive painting. But what I can say is a big, big thank you from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of everyone who can't sit here and say that. You guys rock, you superstars, you rock stars, you heroes. Thank you so much. And somewhere there's a beach and pina colada waiting for all of you. Thank you so much.